All right, trying this one more time. Hopefully it works this time. I get a lot of questions every single day about prophetic ministry and about mentorship and training. One of the questions I get a lot is, do I need permission from my pastor, or do I need permission from my spiritual parents in order to get prophetic training, or in order to take prophetic, or even in order to have prophetic mentorship? Lots of people get that, or they want to know about whether or not they need permission, to take prophetic mentorship. And so I just am stopping in the middle of my day here at the pier at Green Cove Springs to answer that question. Let's see. And so you can let me know where you're coming in from, if you're listening up, or if you, and don't forget, tag a prophet, tag somebody who's really contemplating getting mentorship, or who's really contemplating getting some training, because the bottom line is technically getting prophetic training or getting prophetic mentorship is essentially really, I put it on the line of continuing education, all right? So if you're going to get continuing education in the field in which you have been gifted in, or that you know you're called or assigned to, that does not necessarily mean that you need stringent permission from a pastor, a leader, or what have you. Now, you should honor them, and you can tell them which direction you are leaning towards, but I think in the body of Christ, sometimes we've gotten things a little bit twisted because of how we have been raised, or what has happened in Christendom in the past. And many times, because of that, though it's right to honor our leaders, and though it's right to honor our pastors and what have you, if you know that God is calling you or assigning you to the prophetic office, and your parent or spiritual leader aren't gifted in that area, or don't know much in that area, then most likely, if you have a genuine covenant relationship, they're going to encourage you to get the training that you need. They're going to encourage you to get the mentorship that you need, so that you can come back, or so that you can contribute to your current house at a higher level, at a deeper level. Okay, that's what I know. That's what I understand. If this is making sense to you, show me some love, give me some likes, give me some loves, and let me know that this is making sense to you. The controversy comes up when we get into houses, or when we are connected in a place that appears or feels a little bit controlling. That's where the problem comes. But again, the problem also comes when we are under leaders who may not be completely confident, or who may not be completely sure of what 21st century prophetic ministry looks like, or apostolic ministry looks like. And because of the perversion that has existed in the past, and because of perverted prophets who have come into their churches and who have wreaked havoc in the past, then a blemish has come onto prophetic ministry that would cause us, or cause others, to think that it's not legitimate. And because it's not legitimate, then we need to be overly critical with those who are called to train, and those who are called to mentor prophets and those in prophetic ministry. And so that's why you have to know without a shadow of a doubt what God has called and assigned you to do. You've got to know without a shadow of a doubt what He's speaking to your heart and what He's telling you to do, because obedience is better than sacrifice. Hear me well. Obedience is better than sacrifice. Go ahead and tag a prophet, tag a pastor, tag someone who you know may be struggling with whether or not to take prophetic mentorship, simply because they're in conflict with their pastor or their leader. Now, this is not regarding those of you who have a good relationship. But again, if your pastor or spiritual parents do not agree with prophetic ministry, if they are not keen in the prophetic and don't understand it, and if they are worried about you going somewhere else, they will be the first ones to tell you no. However, when you have leaders who want you to grow, when you have leaders who want you to be the best that you can be in the strength that God has given you, they are not going to see anything wrong with you getting mentorship or development. For instance, if my music leader is gifted and wants to get training or mentorship somewhere else, I am not going to say, no, you can't do that. What I'm going to say is just make sure that their spirit is good. Just make sure that they're legitimate. But if God is leading you to get mentorship from someone over here, or to get trained in your gifting so that it can be better used and implemented with us, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, go for it. Do what God has called and assigned you to do. Just make sure that you show up where you're supposed to show up, that you are on assignment where you're supposed to be with your local house, and all will be well. But we have to be careful about when we begin to say that we have to always get permission from someone regarding what we do. I don't necessarily think that is, I don't agree with that. I believe that just like if I'm called to dentistry and I need a mentor in dentistry and I need to get training in dentistry, if my parent or my pastor or my leader is not fluent in that, why would I go to them? I might tell them, hey, will you help me consider, I'm considering going to this dentistry school or this dentistry school. Can you help me consider between the two which one may be best and which one may accommodate me the best? But I'm not going to say, if you tell me not to do it, I'm not going to do it if it doesn't bear witness with my spirit. But again, also, if it feels a little witchy or controlly, it's not going to happen. Now, look, folks, I'm telling you what I know, what I've experienced. Now, remember, I pastor as well. I'm a covering for people as well. Those who I am in covenant with, real covenant with, they'll come to me and tell me what they're doing. They'll come to me and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. If they have two different options, they'll let me know, and I'll say, hey, well, I agree with this one more. I think this one may do better for you here. But I'm not going to say don't go do that unless God himself is telling me this is not for you at this moment. Or if I know something that they don't know about the one that they're considering getting mentorship from, or the one that they're considering connecting with, you best believe I'm going to tell them. You best believe I'm going to say, now it's not the time, or I will just be blatant and tell them, guess what? They have some skeletons in their closet that are coming out. They need to do this versus this, and I would appreciate if you would consider someone else. Or I will even say, guess what? They don't believe the same that we believe, and so I'm not sure that that's going to help you. It may confuse you. But again, when it relates to prophetic ministry and the prophetic calling and the prophetic gifting and the office of the prophet, that's why you got to make sure that you have those around you who understand your gifting and who understand where God is calling you, or that is the thing that sometimes you have to agree to take off the table and not talk about. All right. If you just believe that God can only anoint men in ministry, why would I even come tell you that I'm called to ministry if I'm a female? Why would I invite myself to unnecessary warfare because you don't believe in women in ministry? I'm not going to do that. That's a waste of my time, a waste of your time. But if we're in covenant and you really believe we're in covenant, guess what? I'm going to say, guess what? We're going to take women in ministry off the table. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to discuss it. We're not going to debate about it, because we have two different patterns of thought and belief systems about women in ministry. So there's no need for us to discuss it, because that thing is not going to not get me to heaven or hell. Are you hearing me? And so as prophets of God, when God is calling you, when he is beckoning you to him through a mentor or through some extensive training, you got to know without a shadow of a doubt that that's what he's doing. But you also have to be willing to just do it and understand that everybody may not agree with you. Everybody didn't agree with Jesus. Everyone is not going to agree with where your pastor is going to go to seminary. Everyone is not going to agree where your child is going to go to college. You understand? You got to recognize that. And when you recognize that, as mature Christians who operate in wisdom, sometimes we have to be willing to just take certain things off of the table of discussion within our relationship so that it won't cause unnecessary conflict within us. Are you hearing me? That means we've got to take certain things off the table and not be afraid to not discuss it. For some people, I'm not discussing certain things with you. Not a topic that I want to hear from you about, because you can't even comprehend what I'm doing. So why would I even enlighten you about something else? And that's the other reason why I say, as prophets and those prophetic learners and prophetic students, sometimes you don't have to tell everybody everything about the training that God is taking you through, because that's when you'll begin to endure more warfare than is necessary. That is when all of a sudden you feel like you got to prove yourself. You feel like you got to explain why you chose this versus that, and that's not necessary in right now. What's necessary is that you obey God. What's necessary is that you walk in the purpose, plan, and destiny that God has for you. What's necessary is that you know without a shadow of a doubt what He's doing, and what's necessary is that you rid yourself of the cloud of confusion that's coming into your life that may be because of those you interact with in a close level. All right, so let's make sure you guys are clear on this. Don't go saying I said something that I didn't say. Don't forget to like this post, like this page, and share it. Don't forget to tag a prophet, tag a pastor, tag an apostle, tag someone who you think would benefit from this candid conversation about whether or not prophets and others need to get permission from their pastor or from their apostle regarding mentorship. Again, my bottom line is no, not necessarily. That is not necessarily what needs to happen. My secondary response is, although you do want to do things in decency and in honor, and you always want to honor those who are covering you in your personal lives, you have to recognize and realize that sometimes your pastors and sometimes your spiritual parents may not be the ones that God have assigned to mentor you in a specific area, because that is not their assignment, nor is that their capability. And so the more that we get real and the more that we understand this thing, the better off we will be in covenant relationships with each other, and in the ability to move forward without feeling like we have to end a relationship or end something simply because we don't agree. The Bible does say, how can you walk with those you don't agree with? How can it talks about being in agreement, but I'm saying sometimes we take that overboard, or sometimes we want to make it more about control than about agreement. Are you hearing me? And so you have to have your discerners up, and you've got to be able to recognize sometimes our pastors are afraid to release us into mentorship simply because they know when we benefit at a higher level that there's a possibility that you'll want to go somewhere else. There's a possibility that you may not want to remain where you are. And so you got to be able to look at that. You've got to be able to determine, okay, is this going to make me want to leave my current place, or is this going to make me want to come back and contribute? Does this mean I'm assigned somewhere else, or what does that really mean? There's so many other factors that come into that I can't just give a blatant answer. It's a different answer for someone else. Now look, if you don't have any kind of discernment, if you have had problems with making the right decisions, if you have just had some issues, guess what? I'm going to tell you, you probably need some help. That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, oh, guess what? If you're in the middle of a stressful situation, if you're in the middle of a conflict, if you're in the middle of a traumatic situation, of a life conflict, crisis, guess what? You don't even need to be making decisions right now. You need to just be sitting and hearing from God and making sure that God, that you're in alignment with God, that He's healing your heart. But when it comes to that other stuff, guess what? You need to make sure that basically your heart is right, that your relationship is in alignment with your covering, your spiritual parents and pastors, and you need to be able to just go and tell them your heart without wondering whether or not they're going to say no because they don't believe in prophets of today. They don't even believe in the gift of prophecy nor the office of the prophet, but you want to go tell them that you're about to sign up for prophetic mentorship. Guess what that answer is going to be? No, I don't think you should do that. Now, if you're looking for a way out, then just say that or do that. All right. Does that make sense to y'all? Hope that makes sense. Go ahead and tag somebody. Go ahead and like this page, like this post, and don't forget to share. Do me a favor and share. And look, if you're in the Jacksonville area, you're nearby, you're wondering about taking prophetic mentorship from me or from GICMP, I encourage you to come to Prophetic Convocation. It's actually next week, 5 days from today, starting next Thursday. Prophetic Convocation here in Jacksonville, Florida, at the DoubleTree Hotel at the airport. It's going to be fantabulous. I'm going to be teaching the Global School of the Prophets for 2 days, that Friday and Saturday from 10:30 to 2:30. The evening services are free. If you just want to be in a prophetic environment that's just infused with the prophetic, come on out. That's going to be great. We'd love to have you. All right. So again, don't forget to tag someone. Don't forget to share, like, and share again, and tag someone who needs more information about this. And don't forget, if you're looking for prophetic mentorship, if you're in alignment and you're ready to go, just go to propheticmentorship.com. We would love for you to enroll at our institute, propheticmentorship.com. I'm the founder of the Global Institute of Church and Marketplace Prophets. That's what we do. And guess what? We partner with pastors. We partner with apostles. We partner with other Global School of the Prophets who just need help kicking off their prophetic training institutes. We partner with you. We have systems in place. We partner with those who want to affirm prophets publicly. And again, if you want to see that take place and you're near Jacksonville, come to Jacksonville, Florida next week for Prophetic Convocation 2017 at the DoubleTree Hotel that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And that Friday is when we'll be publicly affirming prophets. All right. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like this page, like this post, and share. And don't forget to tag a prophet, tag a prophetic voice, tag a pastor, tag an apostle, someone who you think will appreciate hearing this. All right. God bless you.